Committee man. Everybody say hello to Ralph.
Hello, Ralph.
Hello, Ralph. And then we got our resident funny man, our attorney go-to person, Robert Dushman, is with us as well. And if any of you if you don't follow Robert on Facebook, you should. He's quite hysterical. But I want to get right into the conversation. There's a lot going on this week, and we will talk about some things that are related to Trump, and then maybe talk about the governor's race of Florida. But Robert, you and I had kind of an offline conversation the other day regarding Congress and their decision to maybe leave early before they got their work done. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, now it's the Senate now. But McConnell finally, he bowed to the pressure.
All right.
He was getting a lot of pressure from the Republicans. Why should you get an extra 5 weeks off? Remember, they took a week of July 4th. Anybody would.
Is that normal though? Do they normally get that?
Years ago it was, and in the state houses it's usually a very part-time job, and the pays accordingly.
Right.
Years ago, the feds I don't think ever worked between July 1st and Labor Day. That was pretty much time.
I didn't realize they got 5 weeks off. I just didn't know that.
Well, and it's not off. I don't want to sound too derogatory towards them. They go back to their districts.
It's okay.
And when you think about it, some of the congressmen, it's a hard job with all the people in their district.
Yeah.
Everything they have to do, and the appointments and people needing certain things done. Sometimes it's really just an administrative nightmare for them to have the 5 weeks off and
I
have to
would
go back
think
to their
it was.
district.
But the idea that they wanted to do that, what are your thoughts about that, Ralph?
Well, let me give a little background, if I may. The reason
Ralph, you go right ahead.
The reason they take
if you're wearing that shirt, you can do whatever you want.
And you get to serve drinks later.
Exactly. He's going to go directly to Bahama Breeze after this.
As you know, I do a talk radio show in Lake County called Lake County Roundtable.
That's a plug. That's a plug. The
absolutely.
Lake County Roundtable.
1 o'clock every Wednesday,
there we
790 WLBE.
And he's going to have Robert on soon.
I'll come out there one day.
But I had Congressman Webster on. That's probably been a year or two ago, and he told me the reason they did that was because historically, back in the days before air conditioning, there was it was too hot. Washington was built on a swamp.
Really?
And so they got out of the town because
it
was very uncomfortable to be a congressman in Washington, D.C. So that was.
And it's still uncomfortable to be a congressman.
Well, yeah, it is. Yeah.
The weather has nothing to do with it anymore.
I did not know that.
Well, they used to do that in Orange County too, and I grew up here, and when we had the old green courthouse, the asbestos one, part of the jail, and in the summer the trials ended at 3:30.
Was that right here downtown?
It's next to where the historic courthouse was.
Oh, okay.
But in the summer, the trials ended at 3:30 because they didn't have air conditioning in the building originally.
Yeah. By the way, Kat Skipper says, Ralph, cool Florida shirt. She likes your shirt.
Go Gators.
Yeah, so everybody, our friend Kat, veteran Secretary of Trump's running for a Polk County Commission. Listen, I'm looking down at a computer while we're talking, so if you have any questions, either for Robert or for Ralph, please feel free to post this. I believe we're also posting to both of your Facebook pages, so if your friends have, assuming, we had a hard time getting into his.
Yeah.
Maybe you have over 3,000
Couldn't remember my password. Yeah.
I don't know how it works. But,
Well, if you go to your page, you'll be able to see people making rude comments about you. By the way, Burma Posey.
That's 24/7.
Burma Posey, if she's watching today, Burma Posey loves you. I think if she wasn't married, she would be trying to
I love her too.
make her moves on you.
Oh, yeah, I am on there. There we go. We're all three of us. We're looking pretty good.
There you
Hey,
go.
we look pretty good on my phone. I'll tell you, Burma, I wish I could just eat at her house every night. I'd be 500 pounds.
You probably don't know this. She's writing a cookbook. And
I do.
Did write it. She's actually going to be doing a television.
I'm contributing 2 recipes to
what are
that cookbook for cookies, molasses and a chocolate chip oatmeal cookie.
Is that true?
Yeah, I make the best cookies in the world.
Really?
I'll bring you guys some cookies sometime.
Did you?
And these are 2 of my mother's recipes that have been tweaked.
That's interesting. Surprisingly, a lot of people that I meet are really pretty good cooks. I'm not a very good cook. Trust me, you don't want to eat in my house.
I'm a better baker than a cook.
So let's talk a little bit about the Trump situation.
I did cook a steak this morning.
This morning?
I got on Facebook and somebody's griping about some vegetarian thing.
Oh, I saw that.
I go downstairs and there's a steak in the fridge, so I figured I better eat it for breakfast. Otherwise, I might turn into a vegetarian throughout the day.
Have you seen the video?
It worked. I had a hot dog for lunch.
Oh my gosh. You're going to blow up while you're on the show. Have you seen the video that's out there right now where the people are fishing and one of those vegan folks or whatever it is comes up and videotapes them because they have a fish laying out of water? Milo put it up. You need to go see that.
Oh, I think I did see something like that.
Okay, let's move into the Donald Trump saga, Donald Trump Jr. saga with these emails and the Russian interference. From a legal perspective, first, Robert, has he done anything that you think is even worthy of?
The only thing possible that I can, and I'm just guessing because they haven't. There's nothing. There is a statute that says and it's not federal and state. Originally, it was only the president election, I think. But now any elections, you can't have you can't receive anything from a foreign national, anybody who lives as a citizen from anything of value is what it says.
Gotcha.
And money is, of course, the one thing, but over the years, those things came up to be of value. I did some research today because one of the Facebook jockeys was getting on me yesterday about it. And I cannot find anywhere where information is value. Now, obviously, information is valuable, but there is some case law in some state cases throughout the country where it says if something, to have value, you have to be able to assign a value to it.
Okay.
For example,
what does that mean?
Information has value to you because obviously you could use it, but you can't assign a value to it, so it not be something of value. But an airplane trip has value, even though you're running for office and a guy flies you around on his plane, that has value.
Okay.
If he happens to be a Russian, you're in trouble.
Okay.
If he's American, you might still be in trouble, but
and Ralph, you
not as much.
You ran for office. So isn't opposition research pretty standard when you're running for public office?
Yeah, it is. And what I don't quite understand, let me ask the attorney this, Robert, if I may.
Put him on the hot seat.
I'm going to be one of your Facebook critics right now. He's a private citizen. Donald Trump Jr. just happens by virtue of biology to be the son of Donald Trump Sr.
Oh, but he was involved in the campaign.
But he was involved in the campaign.
If you're involved, anybody, and I'll tell you, and it doesn't even have to be somebody involved in the campaign. If it's a conduit, and that's in the statute too, if it's a conduit, whereas somebody uses somebody who's associated with somebody who's in the campaign, it does. However, I still think I cannot find any case in the country that says information it falls within the statute. And if you don't have this statute, he got nothing. Now, I will say it also says solicitation is. So if he solicited from her something of value, then he would be in trouble. But again, he didn't solicit her. She came to them.
What makes you think, though, that maybe they didn't? There's this theory going around that was kind of intentional. They wanted him to come meet, and they wanted to use that information, that scenario, against the campaign.
I think they used it against both campaigns, and I had put this out on Facebook earlier that apparently the same or an affiliated group had somebody meet with the Hillary campaign at the same time. Yeah. So basically, and the whole thing is Russia was trying to influence our elections.
Sure.
It's not like the CIA hasn't done that 500 times.
Right.
To other countries. The thing is, we just need to make it so we don't allow them to influence them, and the way to do that is to ignore that kind of stuff.
Ralph, someone just said, John Herman, who's a friend of mine, says, Ralph, the best-looking man on radio. There's a compliment. There's a compliment for you.
Face made for radio.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
That's why I do radio. The whole thing goes back to, though, with Donald Trump and the situation with his election is it's all misdirection. I mean, since he's been the president, I believe he signed 37 bills into law.
Yeah, a lot.
And that's as of a month ago. And so there's a lot, and to be honest, he's used that tactic too in his campaign and some of the things he's done. And that's just what the left is doing in the media. And the bottom line is they're all attacking this stuff, and so they're missing out on what's really going on. And can I say something about Twitter, or are we going to talk about it?
We'll talk about Twitter in a little bit. We'll talk about social media. But you can go ahead and say it now. Go ahead.
Right.
Say what you got to say, Ralph.
Teaser.
I did not really understand why Donald Trump did some what I thought were goofy things sometimes.
Like what?
Until I read his book.
Oh, okay.
The Art of the Deal.
The Art of the Deal.
You start reading that. That was written almost 30 years ago.
Right.
And you understand a guy had figured out something, a system, a way of getting things done. You think 30 years later it's not going to be more refined?
Sure. So how to connect the dots for maybe the people that have not maybe read that book? What about that? What you read in the book correlates to how you think he's handling Twitter?
Well, it's negotiation as much as anything. I'm going to talk about this over here. The dog's going to chase his tail while the guy is breaking in the house and stealing the jewelry. And so
let's hope that's.
Let's not use that metaphor with the president of the United States. But I understand where you're going with that.
Exactly. And so I think it's almost genius on his behalf. He's getting things. I think only he'll be judged by what he does, not what he says.
Well, go ahead and talk about the tweets.
Well,
I asked all the guests.
Let's talk about this for a second.
Ahead,
about that
attorney.
One of the things that got, along those lines, though, is all the crap about his tweets started this, and everybody's talking about what he said and he said during the meeting with Putin. during that meeting last Friday, they negotiated a temporary ceasefire in southern Syria that went into effect Monday, and there hasn't been a shot since.
5 days, and they're doing it
Or Sunday it might have gone into effect. So the fact is they're getting the job done.
Yeah,
exactly. And listen, while everybody's over here looking, like you were saying, looking at this, they're over here, they actually got the job done.
We do it in sports all the time. It's called misdirection. You think you're going this way, and you go that way.
I know.
Everybody, I'm sitting here today with Ralph Smith. Ralph is the state committee man, Republican state committee for Lake County. I met you during the Trump campaign.
Yes, sir.
And then I'm sitting here with our attorney, or resident attorney, if you will, Robert Dushman.
I never leave.
You don't. You just kind of.
They've been trying. They even switched the room today on me, well, but I still stay.
You actually met a girl on the way to the show.
Yeah.
I mean that.
Amy Carter, I believe her name.
Yes.
Hey, we'll give her a plug.
Go ahead.
I had to park on Washington Street.
I don't know if you should say her name. What if she's not a Trumper?
Amy Carter.
Okay.
She came out and gave me her card and said, "I saw you parking here." Well, I was trying to fit my truck into a compact car spot, and I did. But let's hope somebody moves before I have to leave.
Well, that's kind of interesting, Chris. But I want to go back to the conversation about Twitter. So, I mean, I've asked all the guests that we've had on the show. This is probably our 5th that we've done in the studio, and I think I've asked you this question before. But Ralph, what are your thoughts about what you're hearing on Twitter? Does it ever make you cringe? You have a little conflict with it? Are you okay with it? What are your thoughts?
It used to. I mean, the one thing I will never...
Because you were not a Trump supporter early on, correct?
No.
You were a Ted Cruz.
I was almost there, and then he attacked Ted's dad. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, okay.
And I thought he had to know Cruz was getting out of the campaign, so why do you do that?
Right.
And to this day, I still don't understand. It's one of the things, if I ever got to sit down with Donald Trump, which I doubt I will, say,
hey, you never
why
know.
did you do that?
Hey, guy from Indiana got to meet him. Anybody can meet him.
I just felt like it.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
But anyway... no, but as like I said, when I read that book and I saw what he's doing, and it's, I know it shouldn't be this simple, but it really is. It's misdirection. He's saying, let's get this, and the media just chases it, and they go after it, and the Democrats do. And remember, we're talking about Democrats. We call them low information voters.
I don't know if I agree with calling Democrats, because there are many Democrats that voted for President Trump. I believe that liberal left.
I'm talking about. Okay, let me define
there we go. Just help me out there.
The Bernie Sanders crowd, which, by the way, I'm going to be in Vermont next week, so I'm going to have fun with that.
We'll talk about Bernie someday.
Oh my God!
While we're teeing it up.
But go ahead with your thoughts.
Yeah. The left wing of the Democratic Party, extreme left
wing.
wing.
There you go.
They are low information, and even their politicians are. I mean, look at Kareem Brown, okay?
Wow.
Look at Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
I've been griping about
Kareem. I want to ask you
years.
about that one in just a second. Go ahead.
But you continue, and you could go down the line to Maxine Waters, Nancy Pelosi, Barbara Boxer sometimes makes a little sense. But the bottom line, they are way off.
Somebody made a little sense.
A little sense. They are so far gone. I mean, there's some guy calling for Trump's impeachment. Over what?
I know.
I don't even have it. How did they? Now, I know they filed that articles of impeachment. How did they do that?
One person brought it up in the House.
Out of 435.
You have to have a majority to issue.
So what's he doing? Just grandstanding, trying to get attention?
Yeah, exactly. That's because there's 435, and they all want to. The new ones are lost in the pack, and nobody's gonna know who they are. So they're trying to get some TV time.
Let me give
That's what they do best.
To our Lake County folks, we had we had a 5-day celebration, which in Lake County historically that's one of my duties. We had about 350 people there. We had blacks for Trump. We had Hispanics for Trump. We had gingers for Trump.
What are gingers for Trump?
Well, you want
redheads?
Yeah.
No way.
Don't you watch South Park?
Well, you guys discriminate on everything, don't you? Gingers.
Wow, you can't have red hair.
That's pretty cool.
People were showing up. It was phenomenal. Cheryl Hall had a lot to do with getting that done over in Lake County.
Oh, that was that big to do. That's right.
You should have been there.
I saw that. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to go to that one, but that was a great turnout too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so the point is, and we did this because it was his birthday, and we thought it was appropriate since the president's birthday is on Flag Day to have a multifaceted. We're buying a tent and getting seats and whatever. Let's have two parties instead of one.
Did you guys allow? I remember it was controversial. Did you allow open carry during that, or concealed carry on during your event?
There were some concerns, and it was ginned up by the media, even the local media.
We saw it here. Yeah, we saw it here.
Yeah, are you worried about? We never had any problems. By the way, our sheriff in Lake County is a guy named Peyton Grinnell.
Yeah.
12 million hits. You remember where he...
he told them we're coming after you?
Look, there was nothing going to happen to Varys. I knew that because and let me give Lake County one prop if I may.
Well, okay, this is the last one though.
Okay, second per capita, second most populous county in the state of Florida.
Wow.
In concealed weapons permits.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah.
Bunch of gun owners out there.
So-
Listen, Burma Prosy has made a point, and you guys can address this.
Okay,
It
we
says,
always, if Burma
if
says
Burma,
it, we swear
she's the
by it.
queen, so when the queen speaks, everybody got to be quiet. So here's what she says. It is amazing that the media is trying to create a case against Donald Trump Jr. with Russia, while they ignored Hillary arranging the sale of American uranium in exchange for speaking fees to Bill at almost $500,000 in large sums going to the Clinton Foundation while she was Secretary of State. Any comment on that?
Well, I would just say that's where I have pointed out for years that there's a huge gap in our law about taking money. No, it's unconstitutional for anybody in office to take money from a foreign national,
Right.
or from a foreign government or prince. I think it says anything that, or it be issued any title or of nobility or something of that nature. But that needs to be expanded, and it can be through statute to include family members and everything else. Bill Clinton's the only president ever whose speaking fees went up after he was out of office longer
Really?
amount of time.
I didn't know that.
They were going down as it's traditional. She became Secretary of State, and his speaking fees went up.
Yeah,
It's a bribe. That's all it is.
It's interesting. He looks really bad. I don't know if you've seen pictures of him. I mean,
they don't expect him to speak for those fees.
Didn't really help him out too much. Anyway, John Herman, going back to the Twitter conversation, I didn't get a chance for you. John Herman says Trump is using Twitter to keep his enemies off balance and distracted, which is kind of consistent with what we said. But what are your thoughts about the Twitter?
I wish he'd move over to Facebook and give. I don't like all the little botched up things.
Yeah.
Really?
I get kind of sick of Twitter with the you have to get 3 in a row and then you got to read them. Just say your point.
Well, that's because he only has 164 characters to work
why
with.
not just put it on Facebook? Everybody who's on Twitter's on Facebook.
Are you on his Facebook page?
I am on. Yeah.
Because what they do is, while it's a delay, the tweets do come over here.
Oh, yeah, they do come over, but it's easier just to put it. I used to do a lot of tweeting when I was on the Shannon Burt Show.
Right.
Because they did a lot of that during the show.
Right.
But when I started trying to actually explain something,
You're
I kept running into
Shannon
the wall.
Burt props. You're always doing it.
always
Every time
gotta
you're on
give
the
him
show,
a thing,
you're like,
you know.
Shannon Burt,
We had a lot of fun,
Burt.
and I'll tell you why, because Shannon's the guy who got me into the Trump campaign.
That's a guy, really?
We were on the show, and there were 17 people, I think, or something.
Really?
16 or 17, and I said, Shannon, I just don't know if I can back it. And over a 3-week period,
Were you
he
part of a
convinced me-
panel of people?
No, I just had a day. I did a lawyer's thing where people call in. I can answer any legal question immediately.
Oh, wow.
Correct answers may take
So we're
longer.
pretty lucky to have you on here.
No, correct answers may take longer.
We're paying you so much. I mean, think about all the money you're making.
But
from this
anyways,
visit.
people would call in, and during that, we would always talk about some of this stuff and some of the federal laws and things, just like on this that come up about
That's
the
interesting. I
different
didn't know
things.
that.
Anyways, and so he's the one who really, I got to keep giving him credit because he's the guy who nobody would expect who really got me involved in the Trump campaign when I first met you.
Yeah.
From the very early days, he convinced me that this is what the America needed, and I'm.
I just want to welcome a couple people that joined. Greg Fournier out of New York, Max Seacrest up in Indiana, and Steve Marcy. I'm not sure where Steve lives, but guys, thanks for coming to the Front Porch Chat with Randy Ross. And today, again, I'm here with Robert Dushman, who's an attorney, and Ralph Smith, who is a state committeeman. Did you have some follow-up you wanted to add to that?
If I may give you a prop, I got to say something about Randy. Where I first met him,
no. Here we go.
As a state committeeman, I had a press pass also because I do a radio show. So I go where I get the best.
There we go. The
view,
plug
right?
for the radio show.
Yeah, he's got to do. I'm
That's a sick item.
I'm gonna start plugging his show when I'm on it.
We need to put your numbers down there so we can just call you directly.
Michelin Tires, Lake Tire and Tavares.
Oh, that's right. He's
another
he owns a tire thing.
Oh, really?
Tire
one.
business,
I actually do real work. See the hands?
Me too. See the hands? They're nice and soft. I can run a dictaphone and occasionally a typewriter.
Go ahead.
But anyway,
Do you give discounts if you're a Trump supporter? You get discounts on tires?
Absolutely. Matter of fact,
You heard it here. You get a discount on tires.
I've got 2 hamburgers named after me in Tavares. One of them is called the Big Mouth Ralph over at Fish Camp on Lake Houston.
You've got to be
And he's
kidding.
proud of that.
I wouldn't have ever said that out loud.
And Lori Pfister's our mayor. She has Buster Tubbs downtown Tavares. They have a breakfast sandwich
Buster Tubbs?
called the Ralph Smith Spare Tire. Okay, and I'm working on getting a hot dog at another place, and we're going to call that.
I'm going to leave that one alone. I'm not going to say a word about it. Wow. You had something else to add, though, to the Twitter conversation, I thought. Are you done?
No, about you.
About
Mike Pence. When Mike Pence came to Maitland, I got down there. I took Pam Barber with me, and I said, here's who I am. Here's what I need to. And I know Mike Pence because I've spent time with him and his friends. So I was hoping to get to talk to him for a minute. And so they said, see Randy Ross, see Randy Ross. So I found Randy.
I hate when they do
Randy
that.
was working.
I hate that.
This guy was going 100 miles an hour, and he was the man. And I'll tell you, when I met you there, and after that I heard about you, I said, this guy's special.
That was a great visit, wasn't it? It was a really good speech. It was right towards the end.
Yep.
You know, boy, the Secret Service, they were all over that one.
Oh yeah, those guys are good.
Well, you know, those people in Maitland are rough.
I
No,
their neighbor
no,
there in
this
Winter
is
Park,
near.
I never go into Maitland after dark.
God sakes, can't they get a better civic center? That made
I don't even know how they chose that. You know, they never. Just so we're clear, while we had some involvement in selecting UCF for one of the rallies, the campaign makes all those choices. We don't really get to be involved in that. Let's move a little bit, or pivot over towards the governor's race for the state of Florida. I believe I saw you at the kickoff for Adam Putnam out there. What are your thoughts? About?
I'm very open still about everybody. Just kind of, I'm absorbing.
What is that supposed to mean? You
I'm
really have
absorbing
it.
information.
Well, let's talk
now.
about some of the Democrats that are at potential. Well, it's a race.
Well,
but,
yeah.
well, no, it's not. It's partisan. I believe
right-handed,
that one is
Randy.
partisan. But what about? Happen to be in John Morgan's building. What about John Morgan? You're an attorney. What do you think about him?
I think John's a great guy. I've known him for many years. I think there are some videos floating around that if they show up, he's going to have trouble.
Over in Polk
And why
County?
put your
But
wife and your kids
don't you think that
coming
they
out of Wally's
already?
a couple nights?
Hey, Patty Taylor, thank you and thanks for being here.
No, I mean, why put your wife and kids through that?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they've already been through. You can't even drive, right? Is it? I mean, I believe he's lost his license.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I won't comment on that.
I
'cause I don't
personally,
know
let me
about
tell you,
that.
I do like him, and let me tell you why I like him. Even though we tried the medical marijuana with my mom, it was a bad idea. She got high instead of getting normal. No, what we did. This is what we really.
I don't want to incriminate myself, but that's not a bad idea.
No, here's
that is the goal.
Listen, no, what we did is we tried making the brownies.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I looked over after making them for her, and she was stoned.
Are you kidding?
I swear. So we were like, "That's not going to work for Betty." So it didn't happen. But I do. Back to my point is what I like about John Morgan is even though he's probably going to benefit financially from it, I think he's very persistent and passionate about this. And I like that he's holding the state of Florida accountable for something as silly as not being able to smoke marijuana versus just taking it in an edible form. Any thoughts about John Morgan?
Yeah,
you know who I'm talking about,
I
right?
agree with you. Matter of fact, his brother used to be my dentist. He's up in Tavares.
Oh, really?
And so
He keeps plugging that.
I run into him in the basketball
Tavares,
games.
Lake County.
We talk on
How
Facebook
about Lady
occasionally.
Lake?
And I'd love to get him on my radio show. So John, if
Oh
you're
my
seeing
gosh,
this-
that's the third time he's mentioned the radio show.
Is this a commercial? Is this a commercial?
I
Am I here on a
can't believe it.
commercial today?
No, he's a very agreeable guy, but the problem is his philosophical differences are too far apart.
Oh,
Nobody
I think
can support him
absolutely.
as-
Well, we
as
know
a
he's
private citizen.
Yeah,
or
he's
state
really a huge fundraiser for
Yeah.
the Democratic Party, so we certainly can't take that away from him. What about Adam Putnam, who is the Republican that's announced already? Which, by the way, I had a state committee man on here the other day. I didn't realize that's actually running for agriculture. Paul Paulson.
Yeah.
I did not realize how much that office of agriculture commissioner controls.
You know, one of the
They
guys.
control the guns.
I had one of
Yeah.
his opponents on my radio
And
show.
pawn shops and like mom and pop stores, some of that stuff.
You know what the guy told me? He said, "Really, this
And
job."
tire stores.
Yeah, and gas stations. Every
And
time you
gas
buy
stations.
gas, you'll see his
Yeah.
name
Yeah,
on
they're-
it. Bottom line is, he said, "Really, it's the commissioner of dirty jobs." You get right down to it.
Yeah.
Mike Rowe. And that's what they do. And so, end of the
So
day,
what do you think about Adam Putnam?
I like Adam Putnam a lot. I got to introduce him a few years ago, and he's a wonderful guy. And what I'm hearing right now, he's the only announced candidate, I believe.
I believe you're right.
But I'm hearing Richard Corcoran
Well, I
and
know
Ron
there's that
DeSantis
one
are
guy,
possibly going to be getting in.
Bruce Nathan, I believe, is also in there, but I don't know if he's
Yeah, I
announced.
met him, but he's not a serious candidate.
Wow.
But
Right there, you heard it right
he's a
from
good
the-
guy.
Not
I'm
a
just
serious-
telling you.
See, that's why I'm not going to make any comments on any Republican candidates at this time.
Oh, wow.
I don't feel comfortable at this time.
Well, what?
Well, as state
Don't.
committee, I'm not going to endorse any of
We
them.
need to get
It's
some more
okay.
people and get
Just
some
so
more
you know,
ideas
it's
out there.
Facebook. It's
Yeah.
Facebook.
Nobody's gonna watch anyway.
Nobody watches.
Nobody watches.
Nobody's watching this little show.
What
Don't
are we
worry
plugging
about
our
it.
own shows for then? Come on,
So-
we need better now.
Well, who else have we heard that might be getting in that governor's race?
I don't know. John's going to be a big factor.
Because he's going to have a lot of following, but this is a
He's going to
race.
have funding, following. His libertarian ideas are great. I think.
I agree.
Okay.
And that's where I would probably be leaning, but I would not. I would hate to say now.
Okay, great. Oh, listen to Kat. Of course, she's Polk County. And she's like, Adams in my backyard. I mean, it's like we're talking about everything but Orange County. But now we're going to move to that. Let's move to Orange County. Okay, so we have a couple of folks that have now, or one person's announced recently they entered the race. So that's our sheriff, Orange County Sheriff Jerry Demings is in the race. We know of a few others that are thinking about it. I had former Mayor Crotty on the show a couple of nights ago. He has leaning towards.
He hasn't indicated that he's going to run, or
kind of did. Well, you never said yes. I'm running.
Thinking about it.
He's thinking about
North Carolina.
Well, he'd be a good pick.
Yeah, and then you've got possibly Orange County Commissioner Pete Clark, School Board Chairperson Bill Sublette. I don't know if you've heard any. I don't think we've actually had any women that have even expressed interest in this. I think it's all been the various Republican or Democrat male leaders in office. What are your thoughts about the Orange County mayor's race? Who's going to replace Teresa Jacobs next year?
You want to know my personal favorite at this point?
Well, yeah.
I'll be happy with him as long as it's a Republican, okay?
Right.
Yeah. But I like Rich Crotty. Okay. I really do. I've always liked him. He's such a down-to-earth. But of course, the demographics of Orange County have changed since I was
drastically
down here 25, 30 years ago. And so it might be a tough road to hoe. I like Jerry Demings as a person very much. I got told him for 20 minutes up and watched it at the inauguration while he was at the airport.
Right.
But I got to tell you, Jerry and Congressman Val Demings, you got a Congress Lady Val Demings. You're just way too far to the left. She really is.
Well, they do spend a lot of time bashing. She does, especially. Her, Stephanie Murphy, spend a lot of time not really working, in my opinion, for their constituents. They spend a lot of time bashing Trump. I get emails all the time. I don't know how I got on this list from Stephanie Murphy, and it's always fundraising, but the purpose is really to trash Trump.
Exactly. And I would say this about Jerry. Who's your state attorney, Ayala?
Aramis Ayala. We're going to talk about that one. I can't wait to talk about that one.
As I recall,
will you talk about that? Will you speak on that?
I don't know. I'll have to see.
Oh, Lord, here we go.
I have to worry about the bar. There's certain limits as to what I can say about people. Otherwise, the Bar Association and everybody filing complaints against me.
But Jerry supported law enforcement, although I'm sure his wife is on the other side of the issue. Okay.
Yeah, well, she can't. She has a problem leaving her gun in her car. So
she's got
bigger.
You can't have a gun.
Well, I think the Democratic Party is certainly propping her up for some potential run for a much higher office, probably either like vice president. Maybe she'll be the first female president. Who knows? But I certainly believe they're posturing her in that position. Go ahead.
Well, her law enforcement background as police chief of Orlando certainly would give her a little bit more credibility with people in the middle and on the right.
But that, I talked when I ran for city council a few years ago. I met with the prior to me, and I can't remember who the police chief was now. I got the distinct impression she was not necessarily perceived as a great leader in the police department. And I think if you still talk to people who are on the police force now, they believe she's probably better suited for politics because she really wasn't very good at running the organization.
I tell you who I do like. I like John Mina. I think
Chief Mina is great. He's great. I like Chief Mina.
He's awesome.
Let's talk about that Aramis Ayala situation.
Well, first I would say I've known Bill Sublette since before he was a politician.
Oh, really?
So
what did he do before? Was he an attorney?
He's a lawyer. And then I think he did have a short stint in the State House too, or something. And then
he runs by my house sometimes.
School board.
He must live downtown somewhere.
And I've known him for a long time. And he's a guy. The thing is, I would trust him.
Okay.
And that's a hard thing for me to say about anybody.
Yeah.
And I disagree with him sometimes on some things heavily. But at least I would trust him, and we need to get more people in government that we trust right now.
Burma, back on the whole situation with John, Burma says, Burma Posey, she's a former Miss Georgia, but let me tell you, she can be sassy. She can be sassy.
I know, that's what I like about her.
John and I, she's talking about John Morgan. John and I have been neighbors for years. He is ultra liberal. He loves Obama and Hillary, and that should speak volumes. And yes, he lost his driver's license for too many DUIs. His chauffeur had to drive him to our poll to vote. Thank you, Burma.
Well, you know what? I will say, Burma, though.
Hey, I'm saying if you got a chauffeur, you can afford a chauffeur. Who needs a car?
If you're a filthy rich attorney, why in the world would you even drive in the first place?
I know. I say go for it, John. Yeah. Drive your car.
I'll let my wife drive me everywhere, okay?
I wish I had.
So you got a DUI too, right?
No, but I can read. I love to read.
Well, I'll tell you, I've had a lot of dealings with personal injury attorneys over the years. And I find some of them are inherently conservative, but they have to go
Really?
that route.
Yeah.
Because the Trial Lawyers Association is so heavily Democratic.
Right.
Any kind of tort reform, and these guys, you know, their funding dries up. And so I always hesitate when somebody says that. I knew some guys over in Brevard County, and I won't mention any names, but they were diehard conservatives.
Why don't you mention names? I think that's
because
weird.
I don't like to do that to people. But these guys were diehard conservatives, but they gave the maximum to all the Democratic causes.
Really?
And that's the whole thing where I talk about the Democratic Party has so many people wired in. The thing they do best is fundraising.
Sure.
Now, obviously, they don't do their jobs best.
Right.
And but the fundraising, and they have people wired in because they have so many people convinced if the Republicans get control, there's going to be huge tort reform, and there's going to be limits on the attorneys' fees.
Well, don't you think Republicans get a bad rap? I really do believe that often, we're seen as, the party of old men all the time. And in fact, hey, hey, look at that shirt. He looks like he's going to go to the...
Aren't you my age?
No, but I do believe that's a misperceived... That's not a real accurate perception of conservatives.
I think that over the years, though, the Republicans have picked up more libertarian ideals, and as in less government, which is since Reagan, really.
But in
the
Orange
less
County,
government Republican Party has been a much better Republican Party,
right?
And it's getting more people who I would say are more of liberal mindset on certain things,
right?
That come in because the Republican Party is more of we want less government. We don't want the government interfering with our lives. I think the Democrat Party is more of government interference. We're going to tell you what to do, and if you got wired in and you gave all the right money to all the right people, you're going to get the business.
Sure.
One of the things I will tell you that's amazing to me is I live right there in the heart of Winter Park, and
that's a plug for Winter Park, Lake County, Polk County, radio
I go
show,
around on
attorney
Hinkle Circle
services,
and all these multi-million-dollar houses, and like 40% of them had Hillary signs. And then I found out the people that lived there, they made their fortunes off of government contracting or something like that. And I'm thinking, no wonder they want to keep this beast going.
Yep.
It's something out of an Ayn Rand novel is what it is. We want these people to be in power because they're going to give us money regardless of our productivity.
Well, Winter Park has become far more liberal over time. It really has.
But not on my street.
But you were going to say something.
Well, we have the same thing. I live off Lakeshore Drive between Tavares and
Oh my God, here we go again. No, plugs.
So,
okay, you can give a plug for someone.
I know.
Thornton Park.
Yeah, there we go.
But I will tell you, they will never annex us, neither city will, because we have so many strong-minded conservatives. But I have noticed a few liberal sides, and these people are obviously successful financially.
Sure.
But where did their money come from? Your point is very well taken. There's two ways you make money. You take it from somebody else or you earn it. And as a
spoken like a radio
attorney,
personality, right?
not
there.
at all, no.
Well, we were going to move.
I have some big clients that do government contracting, so I hesitate to slam on it too much. Well, let me tell you, after 9/11,
right,
the amount of money the feds were giving the local governments, one of my clients told me he had to go in there and tell them what they should buy, and then they would send him the purchase money, the purchase orders, and buy this stuff.
Wow.
Because they didn't even know what they should be buying.
So we got about 20 minutes left on our show today. Thank you again, Robert Dushman, for being here, Ralph Smith. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot those into Facebook Live, and we'll try to answer them. But I wanted to kind of talk about, there was a video that surfaced. It surfaced last week, but it just made national news today because I saw The Hill had done an article on it where Aramis Ayala, who is our state attorney that Governor Scott took all the death penalty cases. Just to give you some background in case you don't live here, our state attorney was recently elected this last year. One of her cases that was coming up possibly before her was a death sentence case, and so she does a press conference, and in that press conference she goes ahead and makes a blanketed statement that she will never seek the death penalty, or her office will never seek the death penalty on any cases, and as a result created a huge backlash where our governor came in and took all of the potential death penalty cases, and I don't remember the gentleman's name, it was the last name Starr or something, over in another county, and let him take over specific cases, and right now she doesn't What's she do all day? I mean, I'm
Well,
just
she still has
curious.
to manage the office. It's an administrative position.
Well, a lot of her attorneys left. I did hear that too. But
Well-
my point is, last week a video surfaced that she got pulled over, and a lot of people don't worry. Or you can probably address this too. That if you work in law enforcement or a city attorney or things like that, your plates don't register. Your auto plates. That's intentional because, of course, if somebody wanted to hurt you, they could find you or track you down.
Yes.
And so a police officer was behind her, and for whatever reason, ran her plates, and they didn't come up, so they pulled her over. And in this discussion that she has with the police officer is kind of aggressive, I thought, because she wanted to make sure he knew she was a state attorney. Did you see the video?
I didn't see the video, but I will. I'm going to go look it up as soon as I can.
What did your
I don't like it when people
By the way, the
do
state
that.
attorney the governor assigned the office to is my state attorney, Brad King.
That's
in
his
Lake
name,
County.
Brad King.
Brad
You're right.
King,
There you go.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And believe me,
And apparently has
they
a
will
good-
do a
yeah.
good job.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, here's a corollary to that. A few years ago, Judge Fawcett, who's one of our
Corollary.
federal,
I've never heard that word.
one of our federal judges.
What is
here.
that corollary?
That was a,
You know,
that's
it's
a
very, a little
good.
extra.
Yeah, it's
a little
very
extra.
fancy.
Well, I'm trying
Fancy
to be fancy
words from the
I'm the
attorney.
guy with the tie on, so I can use a $20 word.
He's going to go sell suntan lotion later. It's okay.
That's all right. Well, anyways, Judge Fawcett got pulled over, and
Uh-huh.
a federal judge here, and they found, once they pulled her over, I guess they realized it was her, and the guy wasn't going to give her a ticket because
Right.
she made him give her the ticket. Which
Oh.
I believe this is exactly what you need to do to keep the integrity.
Exactly.
Tremendous amount of respect for her.
Yeah.
And then, though, she knew he was wrong and she fought it. She hired a lawyer and fought it.
You're kidding.
But she went through the system. She did
Yeah.
what was right. She got no special treatment. Talk about,
Wow.
she did wonders for everybody's respect for law just by saying, you pulled me over for a reason. What was your reason? You think I was speeding or I made a wrong turn? You got to give me the
Is
ticket.
she still practicing?
She's a senior judge.
Wow.
Federal
That's a-
judges, until you die, you're still a judge.
Did you have any thoughts about? Did you watch that video I'm talking about?
I saw a bit of it last night. I didn't hear the verbiage because I was listening to
She
something
just,
else.
it wasn't that she was mean. You know, but Tommy, what we need to do, Tommy's our producer sitting back there. We need to
Yeah.
be able to flash that video up there. That's what we'll do in the future. We'll
Oh, yeah.
Flash that video up there. But the neat thing about
Yeah, we
this,
could do that.
we could do that. Wouldn't that be great?
Oh, yeah, everybody would go,
we're just,
wow.
We're continuing to learn different things about this whole Facebook
We're going to be a real
Live.
show one day.
We're going to be a real show.
At least 10 viewers.
I'll tell you a funny one happened to me similar. You know, because I'm in the tire business, I supply the vast
What's the name
majority-
of your tire business? Go ahead and
Lake
put that
Tire
plug in.
Auto.
Lake
Lake
Tire
Tire.
Auto.
So you're in the auto
if you
business
if you're a
too?
Trump supporter, you get a
yeah,
discount.
I supply tires to the vast majority of the Lake County Sheriff's Department, City of Kirby.
Oh, do you really? Oh,
They
so you
run
get,
flat tires?
oh,
So
so
I-
think
I-
about that. That's
yeah.
a lot of tires.
Yeah, that's
That's a good business right there.
Yeah, but the bottom
Because they're
line,
chasing a lot of speeders over there. I got 10 tickets to prove.
I got pulled over about 2 months ago, and I got a ticket.
Did you?
The cop knew who I was.
And he still give you a ticket?
Yeah.
How
That's
fast
right,
were you?
that's what
which
I
is
did for
okay.
it.
I deserved it.
How fast were you going?
I don't know if I should say that, but no, I was doing I think about 55 and a 45, 56, something like that.
Wow.
And
I don't,
My
believe,
kind
I
of
don't
guy.
believe those numbers.
and I didn't have a
I like to drive fast.
I don't believe those
I just
numbers,
know I
man.
have to
I
keep
didn't-
my
I
points in
didn't
a
have
certain
I
range.
didn't have a seatbelt on.
Oh, is that why you got a ticket
and
for
I
that
hate the
too?
seatbelt law. I think it's terrible, but I think it is a good law in the sense that it allows officers to have the right to negotiate and say, listen, I'm not going to stick you with a $150 ticket that's going to cause you the insurance to go up, but I am going to hit you with the seatbelt ticket, which is like $116. So you're getting off a little bit, and you know.
Do you know why? Why in this day and
Well,
age? Why would you not want to wear a
That,
seatbelt?
that actually
I'm
happened
curious.
to me, though.
I was in a hurry.
But do you normally wear it?
Yeah,
Because see, I mean, I know people that don't.
especially in my Jeep.
Some of my friends that are a little heavier, they
Yeah.
just think it's too uncomfortable. What, you wear a seatbelt?
No, I do wear a seatbelt, but that happened to me. I was about 10 miles from the Georgia border about 5 years ago, and I had my 2 young boys in the back seat.
Yeah.
Saturday night, I was driving an SUV doing about 100.
Wow.
And I get pulled over, and my
Jeez.
first question was,
Stay out of your way.
please tell me I'm in Georgia already. You know? And the officer says, well, I'll tell you this, whatever I was doing, 90-something, he said, I think he thought he was going to get somebody else on a Saturday night than a sober guy with 2 kids in the car.
Yeah. Right.
And so he said, I don't think you were wearing your seatbelt. And I'm willing to give you a ticket just for not wearing the seatbelt. If you're willing to accept that, were you wearing your seatbelt? Oh, no, wasn't wearing my seatbelt.
Oh, that's good.
And, I hate to say that, but it was good. I didn't have to pay
John
a
Herman,
fine.
he looked up the definition of the word corollary, a proposition that follows from and is often appended to one already proved.
See?
What?
I even used it properly.
Well, you are an attorney. I hope
well,
you
I do write for a living.
but to my, I want to ask you real quickly. You don't have to provide an opinion if you don't, but you can. Do you believe that the governor? See, the way that this works, the governor on this Aramis Ayala situation, if he decides to remove her from office and appoint someone else, it takes Senate confirmation, Florida Senate confirmation, for her to actually lose her position. What are your thoughts? Do you think that will occur?
My guess is at this point it won't. I will tell you this, though. If they're having to take the cases, the capital cases, and give them to another jurisdiction, she's not doing, then I think the money should follow.
You mean the?
Yeah, it does.
Because she makes like $170,000.
No, but I mean, I think
the
county
falling
has
down.
to
It's horrible on television.
They're not doing their job.
I think the county has to reimburse the other county.
So what does she end up?
But I will tell you this: my opinion is, if she's not doing her job, the governor does have the right and the authority.
And why hasn't he done that? Why
hasn't
he done that?
To pull her completely out. He should do.
Well, then the Senate would follow through.
And I'm an opponent of the death penalty. I don't like the death penalty.
Really?
But I'm not the state attorney. If I ran for that position, I would know that's my job, that I have to do it. Yeah, I am an opponent.
Did we make a good decision in not learning enough about what she stood for when she was running for office, do you think?
No, I don't think.
Because I mean, how did that get missed?
I think she should have disclosed. If you elect me,
though, nobody seems to have
if
asked the question.
someone elected me governor, I would pardon half of the drug offenses in the country, so nobody's going to in the state. So nobody's going to elect me governor.
Did you not do forums or live interviews? I mean, that's like one of the simplest questions.
I would imagine that question would have came out from a lot of people.
I do not, but I think it's wrong for the governor. If he's taken her part of her job away, he needs to say that she's incapable or unwilling to do her job.
Right.
She needs to be removed completely.
I agree.
The system works, but you have to play within the system and not have these corollaries.
Yeah,
of I'm going to do this instead. You know.
And what's the purpose behind paying? What are we paying her really to do? I mean, you say running the office. Well, what does she do all day?
Well, there's a lot of management in the cases and how the intake and everything. Tons of people are arrested and not charged.
Right.
They get arrested and it gets to the state attorney's office and they go, shoot, I don't want to do this. And for years they have intake people. I'm not sure what they have now.
What type of law do you practice?
I don't do criminal law. I do mostly civil.
Okay.
I do some domestic work. And so years ago,
like
I did federal
domestic,
criminal
like
cases,
if somebody
divorces,
hits
stuff
their wife
like that.
or something like that.
No, I don't do batteries. That's a crime now.
Oh, that's a crime now. That's right.
Welcome to the 21st century.
We shouldn't be laughing about that. That's
you can't
not
beat
funny.
your kids anymore either.
I don't believe in that. I think you should be able, if you want
to beat your kids.
To whip your child. I think you should be able. The corporal punishment. I don't
corporal
understand.
punishment's okay, but corporal punishment of getting smashed over the head with a steel bar or something like that is a little beyond.
But I mean, to the point, do you believe parents have this fear now where they can't even really feel comfortable doing that?
I'll tell you this little secret. I had 2 boys, and I reserved the right to do that until they were like 18 years old. Now, to be honest with you, they're grown now. They're 36 and 30.
Oh, wow.
But if they would have resisted, there wouldn't have been a whole lot I could do because they were bigger than I was.
Well, I'll tell you, I had 2 boys too, and I spanked them both, but I didn't spank them after they were 5.
Yeah.
And they were never hard spankings.
I think the last time mine got one was when he was 12.
And one of them made me cry more than him.
Hi there, Sabrina. She says hello. Cheryl Stewart. Listen, Brian Stewart. I interact with him on another page. He says politically, having Ayala in office helps Ayala's opponents.
Yeah.
Because I think she has no chance of being reelected. But I've said all along that what she really wanted, I think it was an unintended consequence that she got so much attention because she was against the death penalty. Mm-hmm. I think George, when she announced on that Friday, or I think it was a Thursday, and on Friday said she was not going to try to fight the governor's decision. Then on Monday decided that she was going to do everything in her power. I think George Soros called her up and said, remember that $1 million I gave you? Mm-hmm. You need to go out and change and fix this. But I think she's got an unintended opportunity here because I think she'll now be elevated for all those people in the country that don't support the death penalty, and she'll probably end up in Congress.
Well, let's look at it this way. If the system does work right, and we have a state that has the death penalty, but we allow people in each it's not just the county, the district, I guess, or the circuit, because the 9th Circuit, Orange and Osceola County. If we allow them to elect the person, and they elect somebody that ran on the platform that they didn't want to enforce the death penalty,
she didn't run on that platform.
I know, that's what I'm saying. If she disclosed it, then, and she gets elected, I think that the governor shouldn't take the cases from her because the people in those counties...
Well, he's already done it, so...
I know, but I'm just saying, the people in those counties then said, we don't want the death penalty in our counties, and this is how we constitutionally can do that. We can elect somebody who will not prosecute those cases.
Is your reason for not supporting the death penalty primarily because you just have an issue with us putting people to death, or is it the cost involved? Where do you sit?
It's everything. I mean, I'm a pro-life person all the way around. I think the government shouldn't take lives, but the cost.
What do you say to the families though that are out there and they have had?
I'd say go spend 30 days in some of these maximum security prisons and tell me that that's not worse than death.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Know, and I think the cost is brutal. People talk about the cost of incarceration. To put somebody to death is a couple $1 million easy. And all the appeals and the massive manpower and everything. But I personally, but regardless of all my personal feelings, I think if a county decides, the majority of the county is going to elect somebody who, if she was open about it, says, I'm against the death penalty, and that county wants to elect somebody who's not necessarily going to prosecute them, that's why these are county elections or circuit elections.
But I think what we learned in this process is that the governor does have a lot more power. I mean, the Supreme Court of Florida obviously upheld this decision. So, Ralph, did you want to comment?
If there was a video surface where somebody said, "Are you in favor of death penalty?" I'd say a coffee somebody was hosting for her, and she said, "No, I would not enforce the death penalty." If that could be proven that was done, then she did say it. And in that sense,
I've not seen any witness or
it's up to the
anyone.
media to ask that question.
Well, I've
too.
not seen anything. By now, something would have come out. I think we would have saw either an article in the Orlando Sentinel or something on television where she either spoke or said that. Even when she did Tiger Bay, as I understand it.
Look, we're still hearing stuff about Bill Clinton's 18 years later. Okay?
Wow.
Yeah, he's already been disbarred.
Always goes back to the Clintons. Always goes back
Everything
to the
bad comes back to the Clintons.
Well, folks, we got about 10 minutes left here.
Well, let me go back to this.
Okay, go ahead.
That is my position. You got both of my positions, but this would be my position about the voters, regardless of my position on the death penalty. If somebody ran saying, I am pro-death penalty, anybody who commits any murder, we're going for the death penalty, and a majority of the county or the circuit voted for them, I would say, okay, those people in those circuits said, we want to enforce this, and in a majority rule, I would go with that. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
Okay, Ralph, you agree?
No,
hey, Ralph. By the way,
agree.
I asked somebody the other day that's a state committeeman what they do. What exactly do you do as state committeeman?
I've been hoping you'd ask me that
I know
question.
you.
And we have 8 minutes left, right?
Yeah, we got about 8 minutes.
You get 6 of them.
Yeah. And don't talk about tires or radio shows or Lake County.
As I told Randy,
tell me about Tavares.
as I told Randy, my wife had a nice shirt, not like yours, but nicer. And so I said, no, I'm going to wear this one. She said, why are you going to wear that? And I said, because the reason I ran for state committeeman was because the problem with the Republican Party, including me, I'm a 60-year-old guy. I go to REC meetings in Lake County, and I'm like one of the kids. That's a problem.
You're like one of the kids.
I'm one of the kids because everybody else is 65, 70, 80.
Oh, you're talking about age.
They're on life support in some respects. Now, God love them because they're still working. They love their country. They're doing the right thing. They're doing everything they can. We don't have enough youth. So the reason I ran, why I messed up my life to do this thing in the first place, with all the other things I got going, was I wanted to try to get young people involved. We have a guy named Kevin Lacey in South Lake who's a young Republican guy. He's got like 2,400 friends on his Facebook page. Our REC,
are they close personal friends?
Not necessarily, but they're young people.
No, but they vote right-handed.
But he communicates with conservative principles and ideas, and they have meetings and all.
I'm just kidding.
So
I was kidding.
I thought with my radio show and it'd be a conduit to try to get young people in South Lake. I don't want to see Lake County become Orange County. No offense.
Hey,
but this was a very
that was a
county
slap in the face.
Ago.
No, he's right. You're absolutely
we used
right.
to have a sheriff that had the
20 years ago. A lot of people don't know this. Just a little tidbit of information.
Los Lamar was our sheriff.
20 years ago, Orange County.
Back in there, whatever.
Dave Starr.
Mel
Coleman, all those guys.
I'll try to say it again.
Okay,
20 years ago, Orange County was red, and it was slightly ahead of Democrats, and then other was only about 500 people.
Right.
Today, it's obviously much different. It's the Democratic majority with I think 237,000 Democrats. Then it goes into MPAs, which are no party affiliation folks, and then it's Republicans. So certainly we've seen a huge shift. And if you're as old as he is, you've seen that you lived through the whole thing.
I'm not the oldest guy at this table, but I'm close.
Burma.
Well, you know, it's
wait,
funny. I grew
go
up
ahead.
here, and
Yeah.
and,
Well, you've
and-
seen the change then.
Yeah, well, that's what I said when I was a kid. The guy Starr that was our sheriff,
Yeah.
I think he was like on one of the first overpasses they put in on I-4.
Really?
He was discharging his revolvers up there one night.
What?
I'm telling you, it used to be a wide open town. He would go. He had these pearl-handled revolvers, two revolvers he carried around. That was our sheriff, and he enforced the law in his own way.
Come out to the
I got to tell you, I miss
But when I got
our.
arrested for drinking underage, they just took me home, and there was no record of it.
You did?
Yeah,
Wow.
of course. I was a hellion back in the day.
Gosh, I guess.
I wasn't
Listen,
always this
Burma
conservative,
commented
law-abiding
again. Burma's on a
citizen.
roll today, but I think she got her Bible out on this one. But hold on a second.
I'm
She
in
says,
trouble now.
No, she said Dr. Benjamin Spock stopped spanking in the early 60s. Children started being disrespectful, and crime among youth went up. Dr. Spock was wrong. His own child committed suicide. God says if we spare the rod, we spoil the child.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with that, but I think that anybody who spanks a child to the point that it would hurt them is beyond when it's helpful. I think, like I said, when my kids were little, it was a tap, and the whole concept of being disciplined instilled in them. And then both my kids are Eagle
I've
Scouts
changed
and
out. I'm a
good boys
grandparent
now.
though, because if
Oh,
my
you
kids
did-
spank
you-
my grandkids,
You get mad?
then I'm gonna whip their butts. Okay?
Really?
Well, I mean, I never. If you spank
Well,
in anger, you're
Exactly.
It's
You
wrong.
never do it angry.
You
Oh,
need
that's
to you
true.
need to just teach them. But I think anybody spanks somebody.
Did
after
you spank
a
your
certain age-
child?
Yeah, just like I said, probably twice each. And there was just a
We'll have
tap to the.
Who can we confirm
I
that
built
with?
it
Who can we
up.
call and confirm
You could
that
call
with?
my ex-wife, and I'm sure she'd say the truth because she always says nice things about me. You can talk to my son. Well, this is where you get to the youth, though. My son, who's a junior at FSU, and a friend of mine's son who actually goes to Berkeley.
Now, are you a Gators fan?
These
of
guys,
course.
Oh,
these
they're-
guys, they have a huge following of friends. They're all ultra-conservative
Really?
Republicans.
Really?
They're, most of them are more libertarian.
What's he
now.
studying?
Economics and math.
So he
Just
doesn't
like
want to
his
be an
old
attorney?
man.
He doesn't
He
want to
might.
be.
Well, that's what I studied too.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
So he's a logical guy. That's why he's.
Hey, real quickly, I want to say thank you, Sabrina, for this one. She says, but the Attorney General has to apply state law, even, she's talking, I think, about Aramis,
Yes.
even if people voted for her. Many
Yeah.
people are manipulated and just vote as they are
point.
told. That
I
does
agree with
happen
that.
a
I
lot.
agree with that
doesn't.
point a
People
lot.
are afraid of leadership. They just
But
follow
I think
like
that
a little.
you have to
mind.
give people if that was the whole issue, like I said, it wasn't in this campaign, but if that was the issue in the campaign,
Right.
and people said in this county we're going to vote,
That's a good
then
point.
that would be, they should get some, you want to give the voters what the voters want, some
Right.
say, that is how it's supposed to work, isn't
And
it?
Brian Stewart says, young people post memes, they don't know how to organize politically in real life. That's interesting because, first of all, have you guys been seeing all these political memes with that they have Trump chasing
CNN.
and all the CNN, all the media
Oh, I
stuff?
love some of
They're,
those.
I heard it's gonna be a good Halloween
they're
mask.
hysterical. I mean, how that amazing that backfired so much when they made the comments about CNN and the poor people on the Morning Joe show or whatever it was,
Yeah.
and now we're actually having fun with that.
Yeah.
That situation.
Well,
Yeah.
that's a lot of the college kids, and I see this because my kids are in college, and my friends' kids that are, and especially one of my best friends, his son goes to Berkeley. I mean, he's telling me out there it's just unbelievable. But a lot of it is just for fun, and
Right.
even on both sides. And his liberal friends and him, they're going back and forth. They're taking it less seriously than the adults are,
Right.
and the adults are going crazy. And
Yeah.
but but it's not the Berkeley students that are causing those protests.
No, you're
it's
right.
the people they're bringing in from the outside.
Exactly
Oh, just
right.
so
The average arrest age I think was 26.
Yeah.
On that last riot.
Hey,
not a lot of
listen,
college students.
Thank you,
in
Tommy
there.
Bayshore. Actually, Tommy has posted in the comments the video, the controversial video of
Oh.
State Attorney. Now you have a place to go watch
yeah,
it.
we'll go watch it.
Aramis Ayala being pulled over. Am I saying her name correctly? I think I am. I'm saying. Hold on, somebody made a comment. I wanted to say, make sure we got it. Okay, guys, we only got a few minutes left. This is where you get a chance to, give a plug for what it is you do. If people want to get in touch with you, we'll start with the attorney over here.
407-425-3000.
Is that really yours?
Yeah.
How'd you get such an easy phone number?
When I 30 years ago or so.
But
I
what
got
I'll
it.
also ask both of our guests to do is go back into the comments on the show and post their information. So for some reason you need an attorney, and it's not a criminal situation. You're
Well, I
domestic.
can refer you. I have a lot of
Yeah.
friends. I can,
He'll
I can
refer
send
you,
them out.
or he'll tell you a joke on the phone.
Yeah, well, or both. You have to listen to the joke to get the guy's number that you need.
And in addition to being a state committee man, you have a business, so tell us a little bit about that business real quickly.
My business is Lake
Not that you haven't already given enough plugs.
My business is Lake Tire and Auto in Tavares, Florida. I'm right next to Fish Camp Restaurant, which has been there like 3 months, but you'll remember that place and forget me because we think of food before we do tires. But nevertheless, let me give a plug
Fish
for an
Camp
event.
Restaurant.
Tires
Who runs that?
Who
Who owns that Fish Camp Restaurant?
A guy named Jim Jordan, and he's an excellent restaurateur, knows his job, great guy, and good conservative too, by the way. In addition, we're having in Lake County our annual Lincoln Day dinner on August 5th. We have Dinesh D'Souza coming as our keynote speaker.
Who's that?
Dinesh D'Souza is a fellow who got arrested, if you recall, under Obama when he was in there and incarcerated over some nothing charge. You remember that guy?
Kinda, yeah, I guess.
I thought you knew Dinesh.
I don't know.
He is a conservative.
I have
rock
5,000
star.
close personal friends on Facebook. I know every one of them.
That's impressive. I've got 7 now, but 6 if you don't get
But anyway, my cell number, personal cell number, you can text me or call me 352-408-9603. I will hook you up with some tickets. There, you'll get to meet a great guy, and they're going to be sold out. It's going to be 500 people at our event. In
That's awesome.
In Eustis, August.
I didn't even know when the Orange County Lincoln Day
Is it to
dinner
raise
is.
money for something?
For the your rep, right?
REC.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
We had Dick Morris a few years ago, and it cost us a little money, but it's going to be very, very awesome.
Well, those are great ways to come together and listen and
and you find out we're not a bunch of stodgy old guys, okay? There are some of those, but there's some great guys like Randy.
Hey, look, he's got this shirt on.
They're not young and cool like
Guys
the Republicans in Orange County.
Robert, okay? Even attorneys can be cool.
I want to thank Robert and Ralph for coming on the show today. Tomorrow we have a special guest. We have Chris Cummins, who is a local entrepreneur. He's actually now a philanthropist. He's really, really a great person. I'm looking forward to having a conversation with him, and I hope you'll tune in as well, probably doing it at the same time. Before I forget, I want to make sure I put a shout out again to Tommy Bayshore with Bayshore Interactive, Bayshore Aerial, and Studio Bayshore, who produces our show. Tommy's been working tirelessly behind the scenes to make sure we can look this great. I mean,
he's done some wonders.
He makes us look amazing. You know, when you think about this, started from basically a dining room television program to this. So this is pretty cool.
It's really impressive nowadays. I actually like coming now.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you again really soon.
All right, thank you.
Go Trump.
Okay, are we still on, Tommy? Let's smile.
Of course we're on.